Hi, I'm Randy Walters, and this is Coal-Fed Families. Again, our guest is Phil Moffett, Republican candidate for governor in the state of Kentucky. In the upcoming May primary, Phil, welcome to the program.
It's good to be here, Randy. Thank you.
Always glad to have you. Phil is the candidate that I first heard of through Jeff Smith, Mario, and he said, Randy, he sent me an email. He said, Randy, Phil Moffett, that's the guy. And I said, who's Phil Moffett? He said, that's who is going to be backed by the Tea Party in the gubernatorial election. I said, okay. So then I found out that David Adams, the guy that handled Rand Paul's campaign up through the primary and did such a resounding job on that campaign, is handling Phil's campaign. And I thought, well, I know David, and he's a straight shooting guy. He's right down the line with you. And that means that there has to be something good and in the Phil Moffett campaign. So I got in touch with David and got to meet up with Phil. And I met a very interesting character who has a lot of great ideas for the state of Kentucky. And one of the things that made it so easy to get involved is that Phil is backed by the Tea Party people, and very emotionally in a lot of instances too.
Well, you know, we've spent a lot of time with the various Tea Parties around the state, and as all of you are aware, the Tea Party isn't an organized political party. It's a coalition of independent groups that are looking for politicians to be more constitutionally conservative, to be more fiscally conservative, so that we can get our government under control and stop the growth and stop the taxing and stop the debt. And our platform, our Four Corners platform, resonates very well with them, and they've been very positive, and I think they'll continue to be a force not only through our primary but into 2012 as well.
I don't think they had too much choice on the matter, to be honest with you. If you look at what has gone on in Kentucky over the past 4 years in particular, and even prior to that, you've had the same people in leadership, and in particular, you've had Senate President David Williams, and he's been there and has okayed and gone along and compromised on all of these policies that have put Kentucky into tremendous debt. And then that's during the Fletcher administration that those things were going on, like not paying our part of the teachers of the state workers' retirement funds. And so now you've got him running for governor, and then you've got Steve Beshear, who has done such a tremendous job as governor that our state's bonded debt increased $4.2 billion since 2007 under his watch. And he's claiming a balanced budget.
Well, we do have a balanced budget amendment in Kentucky, but it is not what it seems. I mean, as a family man, a balanced budget in our family means that we do not spend more than we make in a given time period. And in Kentucky, our balanced budget amendment basically says that if we project enough revenue, then we can take on as much debt as we want, as long as our revenue projections are high enough to cover the increase in the debt service. And what that has gotten us into, quite frankly, over the last dozen years or so, is a situation where our bonded indebtedness has ballooned now to $10 billion, which Randy mentioned is a significant increase since Governor Beshear came into office. And our underfunded state employee pension plan, believe it or not, in the year 2000 was $500 million overfunded, and we are currently at about $34 billion underfunded. So we've gone from overfunded to a significant deficit in just 10 years. And if we don't get this under control and don't stop acting in these ways, we're going to find ourselves, quite frankly, bankrupt as a state. And we need to avoid that and make the right choices and live within our means and do that immediately.
All right. I've heard you say that through the tax plan that you have, we can we could run the state and do away with the taxes that are making us not attractive to industry. But you also said that by cutting back on government,
Right.
we could use that money to help pay off some of this debt.
Right. One of the corners of our platform is to make state government smaller and more efficient. And I know you hear that all the time from politicians of every stripe. And the approach that we want to do in this is, if you guys may remember the base realignment commissions that were used in the military, or the BRAC commissions. And they looked at all the military bases across the state and decided to consolidate several. They closed a few. They even opened a couple of new ones. And the whole idea was to make the military bases more efficient and cost us less. And it has worked very well. And what we need to do is use that same type of technique in state government, where we look in every corner and every aspect of state government and look to consolidate what we can, be it back office systems, be it cabinets, and anything that we're providing now that is unconstitutional, we need to stop. And any state service that can be provided by the private sector should be bid out and provided by the private sector, so that we get lower cost and the increases in quality that we experience in private markets all the time. And with that money, we need to address our debt, and we need to address it immediately.
One of the big problems that has come up in recently has been the idea that Kentucky can no longer afford to house all of the prisoners that it has, so let's let them out and it'll make our budget look better.
Well, I guess in the strictest sense they're correct. If you close the prisons, you don't have to pay to support the prisoners while they're in there. But I don't know that that's a good fiscal technique to keep yourself under budget. Where we need to look are in the areas of government where we have more people than we need. And we have several people in state government that work hard and earn every dime that they have coming to them. But we also have areas where we have too many people that aren't providing enough value, and we need to look at those areas and strip them back. One good example of that is within the public education system. We have the highest number of non-teaching personnel per student than any state in the country, which means we've got an enormous band of bureaucracy there that needs to be taken out. And it's just going to need some thoughtful study and some reasonable measures so that we can cut those costs back and start living within our means.
There was also a story in the paper last week that Governor Beshear was trying to save 81 jobs, political appointment jobs, that ranged $60,000, $70,000 a year that he created for his buddies. That's a lot of money.
Well, it is, and there's a lot of money that can be cut out of state government. We have political appointees that number in the thousands, and obviously that can't be an efficient system. It would have more to do with buying support in future elections than it does about running an efficient state government, and we need to stop those practices.
Right. You can see that in about at any level of government where people are hired just because they represent a large vote, and
it happens all the time.
Right.
It happens all the time. Not just in Kentucky. It happens everywhere.
Right. But in these times of physical destruction that are going on at a very high rate in government bodies, it looks like it's time to stop doing that.
Well, it is, and we need to start focusing. When you start running big deficits, which is what we have been doing for years, and these budgets have been voted on time and time again and approved not only by Democrats but by Republicans, we need to stop those practices. But we need to start talking about and thinking about a tax structure that promotes more jobs and more income as a result of more jobs. And of course, we've talked about this in other segments. We need to start looking at a consumption tax, a retail sales tax on all goods and services. It'll not only drive job growth, it'll also drive growth in state revenue. And it would be good to have the private sector and state government tied together to where if one prospers, the other prospers. And of course, the private sector has to prosper first.
Bear in mind, when he says to a consumption tax. He's talking about doing away with, what, 240 different
200
taxes.
That's right. Taxes, fees, and surcharges, including income taxes on individuals and businesses, and the embedded taxes that we have on many of our products, like tobacco and alcohol and gasoline.
All right.
Those would all go away.
So they go away. Everybody does better. That just makes sense. It's no wonder the Tea Party is behind Phil Moffett, and we hope that you will be too, because Phil Moffett is the man we need for coal. I'm Randy Walters. Phil, welcome. Thank you so much for being with us, and you're welcome back anytime that you're in the area. We
Thanks,
love
Randy.
having you on.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
This is Coal Fed Families.